Yeah, one-man show. Cool. Thank you to being here at the Belgium Power Addict. I think this is the first time where I speak to where I speak to this conference. Thank you that can being here. And yeah, I think these slides are almost yeah, shown for other sessions. So welcome to the Power Platform Bootcamp. And yeah, I think because it is a one-man show, I think, yeah, be aware of others, be friendly, patient, and so on. Okay. Ali, if you have any questions, please ask. Please unmute yourself, or you can paste it in the chat. I must put a chat window on the other screen. Hopefully this works today. So I can see the screen. Yeah, but anyway, please ask. If you have any questions, please ask. This is more easier to me that then I don't must look to the chat window or the other screen, and mostly I forget to show to look to the screen. And oh, okay, I see we are two guys. Cool. I'm Michelle. And okay, this will not work. Okay, thanks to the sponsors. I think this is very cool that we have more than one sponsors. Because when if I join to the other Power Platform bootcamps, there are mostly one or maximum two sponsors, and here we have more than 5 sponsors, or we have 5 sponsors. Really cool. And yeah, okay. Let me introduce myself and my session. My name is Philipp Lenz. I'm working as a principal consultant for the Devo Team Allegri group. The Devo team is located in France. Allegri is located near Frankfurt, and I'm living near Koblenz in Germany. It's between Frankfurt and Cologne. And I'm very active in the community. I'm leading a SQL Pass chapter leader, and we are happy that the SQL Pass in Germany, it is an own registration, and it has money, and it is not died like the SQL Pass Global. And I'm working for the Power BI, Power Apps, and Power Automate user groups, and I'm also a founder of it. I make it in Cologne, but actually since 2 years, I'm only doing this virtually. Yeah, and my main interesting is about Scrum and Agile, and I'm an enterprise BI architect. Okay, anyway, let us take a look for some other housekeeping things. These housekeeping things are from my own. If you want to work with me, please use the latest Power BI desktop version. The latest means not that you have installed the version which is released yesterday. You can use a Power BI desktop version which is 3 or 4 months old, but it also works with a version from which is 1 year old. But it is a little bit confusing when I show my screen, which with Power BI desktop, and you see the latest version and you have an older version. This can be a little bit confusing. If you have an Azure subscription, because we will use for the Power BI sentiment analysis an Azure service. If you have an Azure subscription, you can create your own services. If you don't have one, no worries. You can use my Azure services. I will share with this, the keys and the URL endpoints and so on. But I will delete the service, I think in tomorrow, or yeah, maybe at latest Monday. And after that, it will not work for you because the service is already deleted. If you have installed your own or you use your own Azure subscription, it will work after my deletion of the service. Okay, and we have time, please ask. Because, yeah, we can check this. Mostly I will make a short break after 45 or 60 minutes, so you can breathe some fresh air, or you can grab up a new coffee, because my coffee is already cold. It is from this morning. Yeah, if I forget this or you need a break, please give me a sign, and yeah, this is not a problem. Okay, let's take a look to the agenda. Power BI sentiment analysis has a short story, which is, yeah, I have an interesting story, which is which from a customer of my own, and I will tell you that. And why should we need that? This is also a topic which we must discuss. Why we should use Power BI or Azure services to make sentiment analysis. And you can also use Power BI Desktop with the Power BI Premium, and this should be discussed. And then we take a look to a small architecture of Power BI and sentiment analysis. And yeah, we will make a preparation of the Azure services and the Power BI. And then we should take a look to the data preparation to extract the key phrases. What key phrases means, I will show you this a little bit later. And then we must do a short scoring, or we must do a scoring of the data and create a visualization. Okay. One question. We should record the meeting. Am I right? Was the recording is already stopped?
Oh, sorry. The recording is automatically. So
okay.
yes, yeah, it's going when the session is started. The recording also starts automatically.
Cool.
So no worries. It is recorded.
Okay. Yeah, see, I look to the Teams window, and the Teams window say, "Hey, there's no recording." Okay.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, a short story. What is this, and why should I need sentiment analysis? If you receive every day more than 30 emails, in my case, I receive mostly 100 emails per day, and most of them are not very needed. But mostly I have 30 emails which contains content from my customers and colleagues and so on. But I do not remember at the end of the day the mood of these emails, because but it is not very important for me to keep this all together. But imagine that you are a quality officer of a very big company, and in my case, I've met a quality assurance officer from a big healthcare insurance company here in Germany. And this employee was responsible for getting the reviews of their customers about their services. And I've asked him, how happy are their customers with the products of this company? And he says, hey, the people are very happy about this. And we said, okay. And after 2 or 3 months, after we checked the emails with a technology to get out the mood of their customers, and after that, the people are not very happy about their services, but the quality officer or the employee says, hey, they are very happy. It was not a fault by him. He can't remember every email inside the company and the phone calls which are getting, or he gets the information from other colleagues and so on. And yeah, this was a small problem. And after that, we have get the informations about the happiness to the different categories and products, and the management works on it. And after that, I think they spent 1.5 years about that. We do this again, and to get a sentiment analysis of the emails, and then the people are more than happy. It was great to see, but you must aware of this, that your customers are not very happy with your products, and if you don't get the informations, mostly you can do not the right thing.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Why should we need that? And why should we do this another way, like Power BI Desktop? In the Power BI Desktop, you have a small button, text analysis, inside the Power Query editor. And with the Power BI editor and the sentiment analysis, you can extract the informations, or you can detect firstly the language, you can extract the key phrases. The key phrases are more, if you see a very big email, and inside the email you have so many fill words inside the emails, and the words are not very needed to extract the sentiment. And so you must only extract the needed informations, and after that, with these words, you can get a sentiment analysis. And this can be done with Power BI. But if you want to publish a report like this to the Power BI service, you need a Power BI premium capacity. It cannot be done with Power BI premium per user. You need a premium capacity, and premium is very expensive. It starts by $3,000 per month, I guess, with the P1 plan. And if you don't need a premium capacity, I don't think it is a good way to implement a premium only for doing text analysis. You can use your Azure subscription. And with the Azure text analysis, you have more flexibility, because you can choose between different APIs. You can go to the newest API, or you can use a lower API, and so on. And you have a good cost management. You see how many calls do you have on your API. You can choose if you want to have a bigger plan because you have more calls, or you can scale down to get to spend not so much money for your Azure subscription. And you have also a free plan. With the free plan, you have, I think it is on the next slide, you have 5,000 calls for free for the text analysis. And so I think it is a good way to use the Azure services for this. Okay, a small architecture, very high level. It's a little bit confusing if I don't have the full screen. I will remove that. Okay. Yeah, we need a data source. The data source can be a SQL Server database, or a Excel file, CSV file, or anything else, which is which data source you can also use with Power BI. And these data sources can be also put into a sentiment analysis. This data must be imported, or it's better to import the data, not to use a live query or direct query to a data source, because you must do the sentiment analysis every time again, and this is very expensive. So we should import the data into our Power BI desktop, and yeah, then we must, or maybe firstly you should detect the language if you are with different languages or you have different languages in your data. But if you don't have different languages, you can start with Azure Text Analysis to get the key phrases from your text. And after that, you can extract the sentiment score, and then you can do a visualization. More steps are not needed. It is a very simple architecture. And if you do this in an enterprise environment or something else, or a very big environment, there are not any more steps needed. It is very easy, and we can do this with Postman, or you can use Power BI or something else. There are not more needed. Okay. Yeah, firstly, we must prepare something, and I will copy a link to the chat. You can find the demo, the demonstration material. In the chat, you will find the Windows on the wrong screen. This folder. This folder must be downloaded to your computer. And here inside a data folder, I've prepared 4 different files. The files contains the open English one. And we have here some reviews. The reviews are copied from Amazon.com. I've copied some reviews from different products, and we find here a title, a text, a date, and when the review appears, and we find the URL to the product, and then we find a product or the product name, the category, and we find the stars. If you make a review on Amazon.com, you write your email and you can select different star rating between 1 and 5. And sometimes, the people select 5 stars, but if you read text, the text is not 5 stars. The text is more than 2 or 3 stars. But mostly the people, if they want to buy a product, they look only to the stars, not to the different text content. But yes, this is more my case. I don't know how other people work with the reviews. I look only, okay, this product has 5 stars, it must be good. Okay, I will buy it. I'm more an easy guy or easy customer. Okay. Yeah, we have 4 different files. The files are formatted as this file, as the English file. It is only, or it contains only different languages, one for German, one for France, and one for the Netherlands. And yeah, you have seen this for the English one. This is inside the share, and I have created a small PDF file. This one wrong. Okay, here. A small PDF file where you can see, or you can do the sentiment analysis after this workshop also for your own. Here is described how we can do the language detection, key phrases, sentiment score, the Azure setup, the Power BI modeling, and how you can create a front end for the data. Okay. Okay, if you have already downloaded the material, we can, Ali, Michelle, do you want to use my Azure subscription, or you want to use your own? You give me a...
Yeah, actually, I don't have any for the moment, so I will use yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle is gone. I see. Okay. 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 Then we should use mic or bit easier. So we should not wait for anything. Okay. We have the service cognitive services inside Power BI. And the cognitive services also or includes the language service. We have a translator, and we have something, some more services like recognition, which people is shown on a picture, and so on. But here we will use the language service. The language service can extract the data which are needed for us. And here we see custom text classification and extraction, and we will select this here. And yeah, this is my subscription. Subscription is paid by Microsoft, so it's not a big thing, and I will create a new resource group. It is better if you create every time a new resource group for a service. So if you want to delete all the services which are created for one use case, you can delete the whole resource group. And if you delete a resource group, every service which is included inside this resource group also will be deleted. Okay. Okay, I have one Belgium. So I select Belgium 2, and I will create this resource group. And you can select a different resource group. We can only select West or West Europe or West US 2. These regions provide us the text sentiment or text analytics services. And then we must have a short name. Analytics. This name is already available. Yeah, no, this name is not available. Okay. This is available and provided domain name. Okay. Yeah, the domain name must be unique because okay, this name is available. You get a unique endpoint of the Azure services, and so the name must be unique. Okay, we have different pricing tiers. We have the free one, and sure, why I'm only seeing one pricing tier. Maybe the free is already available for me. Maybe if not, I will choose the other one because I can only use one free plan for the Azure Text Analytics, but I think I have already set up a free plan. But if this is available, we are good to go. So with free F0, you have 5,000 transactions free for 30 days. So don't need to spend any money to Microsoft if you want to test this. Okay. Yeah, this is not needed, and then we can select review and create. Oh, it's not. I've missed something. Okay, I've selected the 1 point. mostly not needed. I will create here a new storage account. And I confirm yes, and yes. The start screen, I've selected a service, and the service is not needed for this workshop, and this is the reason why I should create a storage account. I must check something. Validation file failed, and cool. Okay, what is the error? Okay. I will do this again. So we will create a language service, and here don't need to select anything. This was the error from before, and I will create, or I think the resource group is already available, and I think the answer is 02. The pricing tier, V1 firm, and this is new. Maybe now it works. Yeah, the validation passed, and now I can select create. So it takes 1 or 2 minutes. Then we have deployed our text sentiment analysis. Oh, there's a mistake. But not a problem for us. We must only copy the name. File where we can put the files. Ali, do you have already downloaded files?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool. Okay, now the resource or the deployment of the resource is completed. And here I can select to go to the resource. Before Microsoft has released a newer page layout, it was a little bit easier to find some informations or to get some samples. They have done some changes which are not very helpful in my point of view, but maybe you will find this a little bit easier because you don't know the first version. Yeah, but we can get here some informations, or we can discover the service to get the endpoints or examples to use the endpoints and so on. The only interesting point for us is here the keys and endpoint. And here we have the key. I will send you the key also into the chat window, and the key which we have must use. And we put this in another window, okay. And here we will find the endpoint. The endpoint is needed to work with the services. and I will put also the endpoint to the chat. Okay. These things are needed to get informations, and we can try this. I will show you this on the next few slides. Yeah, we have already implemented our Azure abonnement. We have created or we used our Azure abonnement. I've created a new resource group, and I've created the cognitive services with text analysis or text analytics. We have already downloaded our material, and now we can start to import the data and merge the columns with M. But firstly, I want to show you how you can extract the data with Postman. Postman is a free tool, or it also gives you the possibility to pay something to get more support or something else. I'm not sure about it. But Postman is a tool. I don't know. Do you know Postman, Ali?
Yeah, I heard but never used it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Postman is a free tool. You can download this tool from Postman from the Postman website, but you need a registration and create account on the site to save the different workspaces and something else. But this registration process is for free. Okay, let's take a look here. I will select a new HTTP request, and here we must select a post method, and we can put here our service endpoint, but we need some other informations. I have created here, I will use my existing analytics, same one. Oh, okay, no, let us use the other one so we can see if we get in trouble with the will remove the double slash and remove the line. Okay, so we have a post request to this URL, but we must do a small authentication, because only users which have the access key can use this service. If you don't have the account or the key, or you will change the key, the service will not work anymore. So if you go here to the headers, the key is named as OCP APIM subscription key, and you can find also this information later to the inside the slides, but actually it is not needed for workshop. And now I need the key. So now we have the URL, and we can authenticate our call. Now we need some informations which is sent by the body. So we can select the body, we can say raw, and here we can say we want to send a JSON. The API only are able to extract data from JSON files, so you cannot send any informations via binary or only text. You need JSON in this case. So I will select this one, this JSON body. You see this document is written in English. So if you write something in another language, the response should be gives us the other language. So I click here on send. Here we see response says us, okay, the name is English. We get an ISO code. The ISO code names EN, and the score says, okay, the service are 100% sure that the text was written in English. So if we write something other, I can only German or English. So I write something in German. One test, ein Test, and I select here and send. And here it says, okay, the text is written in German. The ISO code is DE, and the score says also 100%. Okay, so with the language detection, you can get the informations from the Azure service, which language is used inside our text. Now you have also the possibility to extract the key phrases from a text. So I will change here something inside our URL. Good thing is that we only need to change something in the endpoint, and to extract key phrases, we need a little bit more text. Here I will paste a little bit more text to the JSON body. I think this is a review from a fryer. Also, I have also copied this from Amazon.com. I don't know why I have used a fryer, but anyway, we don't have one. I think so. Don't have one. I'm not sure. I must ask my wife. Okay, so this document contains many informations, and we need only some informations. I think we should use healthy, we should use fry or fryer, and smaller version looks good. And some other informations like I cooked a whole chicken. Yeah, okay, it's a good information, but for a sentiment analysis, it is, I think so, it is not needed. So I will send this information to the endpoint, and here we get the key phrases. So you get the word fry, smaller version, healthy way, shipping, hour, size. Oh, you get informations like chicken. So with this informations, you can extract the sentiment. So if you read only these words, maybe it can gives us the information, or the review is, yeah, maybe 80% positive and not negative, because the information, I think the key information is healthy way. There are not words inside like bad or scary or something else, not so good words to say, okay, this product is good. Okay. The other endpoint is to get a sentiment. So we also have this endpoint. Name is sentiment. Change the body, because should only send some informations. Here in this case, the key phrases are not happy. So if I send this, it says, okay, the score is 0.029. If you multiply this with 100, yeah, the percentage in this case is 0.29, and not very good. But if we want to send only the word happy, sentiment scores, okay, 0.96. If you multiply this with 100 to get a percentage, 96% is sure that we are happy or this is a good sentiment. So here you can provide some other information with different languages. We must only put here an information for the other language. So let us try this with this on another screen, and we use Google Translator. Yeah, let us use France and type here really happy. And now I can copy the text. Of course, I don't speak any word of France. And let's say language code is FR. Census. It says, okay, interesting. They're really happy gives us only 86% of the sentiment. Sometimes the responses are differs to each other but if you send this same response tomorrow or in the next few days, you can get a better result because the Azure Text Analytics is a service which is using artificial intelligence, and the service is learning. So if you get a response that really happy is more better than 86%, so if it changes or the service will learn this automatically, and then we get a better result. So, but this is the same as Power BI Desktop. Okay, so these services can be used, and we see here, okay, we have the endpoint or the API is 2.1. Actually, we have also an API named 3.1, but it is the same. 3.1 is the same as the 2.1. It only differs by the sentiment analysis. But we will take a look to this a little bit later. Okay. Let us go back to Power BI, and now we can.
Yeah. And what's the precise the logic behind this scoring?
The logic is it is an artificial intelligence model from Microsoft.
Yeah, because I saw that you have written happy and the score was 96%, I think, and then when you have written that in French, and which was très heureux, means very happy, the score was lower.
Yeah, this is interesting, I know. And sometimes it is a little bit confusing. We can, I will send this information in, maybe it is a little bit, But if I write in English very happy and I will translate it to France, it is the same. Yeah, it's a little, the model is, I think it is not 100% perfect by using other languages. I think so. I'm not sure.
I think the artificial intelligence is not very much happy with or comfortable with French.
Maybe. Yeah, I think you will get the best results if you're using English.
Yeah, I think so.
It is an American product, and yeah, America first.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit confusing, I know. Okay, let us use the files. Oh, the sun is shining here to my room. Yesterday evening it was so stormy. Now the weather is really cool. It's cold, but we have the sun and the blue sky. Yeah. Okay. Now I've started the Power BI desktop and I can select here, get data. Vectors are loading. Okay, I select here, I want to have an Excel workbook. And we use from data folder, we start with the English one, because the English one getting some better results. So we select here the EN file, then click here on open. Get here the table EN. This one is the table 1. It's the same, but I have created from the data an Excel table. So we select the first one and I select here transform data. Now the Power Query data will be open. And we get here the data from the table. And to make it a little bit easier, I think it is good if you create different groups. So we can say, okay, we have a group named raw data. And inside this group, we will move the table EN to this group, to raw data. And now this table is placed to raw data. And we can create a new group to get where we will put the different functions into it. So I will name the group FCT for function. And inside this group we'll place the different functions. Okay. Now we need here to extract the data from the service. You see here we have a title and we have a text. And to extract not only the sentiment from the text, we should also use the title. So if we select both columns, you can make a right click on this and say, okay, we want to merge these both columns into one column. So if you select this, you can merge this, and after that, get a new column which is named merged, or you can rename it to whatever you like. And we select here OK. And after that, we don't have access to the columns title and text. We have only one column which is named merged, which contains the subject and the text. Okay. Now need a function to detect the language of this table or of this rows. I think it is very easy because we have only loaded data from the EN file. So we can say, okay, it is only EN, but this is more than easy. I think we must use the function for the language detection, but you will see another file for the French side. I've copied some reviews from French, and I got a Spanish review inside this. Yeah, maybe a Spanish guy has written a review on the France page of Amazon.com. Okay, now we need here a function. But you have seen the, is it, we must provide to every function our access key, and we must provide to every function our URL endpoint, so that we don't need to provide this to every function. And if we change the service, I think it is better if we create here parameters. So we can say on manage parameters, we can select new parameter. Here we can say, okay, this is our endpoint and the type is text. The current value is this one. So every time which we use this parameter endpoint, we get this value, and or we can change this endpoint by using Power BI Desktop in the front. On transform data, we can edit the parameters. So if we want to change this, we can do this by editing the parameters, and every other function which is using these parameters will be use this value. Okay, now we have here our new parameter. We can also move this parameter to the FCT because it is only used by the functions. And now need another parameter for the access key. Oh, without underline. The type is text and the current value is the key. And now we will move the access key also to the function group. Okay, now we have imported our table with the sentiments for the English one. We have two different parameters for the endpoint and for the access key. Now we need the functions, and here we can select, want to have a new query. And we can say, okay, the query is a blank query. The blank query is only a function which contains no code or something else. It is named query1. We can make a double click on it and can say, okay, this is our function to get the languages without typos. So we have here a function to detect the languages. If you take a look here to the table, to call this function, we have here the possibility to add columns by invoking a custom function. So we can call this function to detect the language of each row. So we need the code for the for detecting the languages. And if you go to the share folder, there's the code PDF, and here's the function to extract the APIs. So copy the whole code. Now, if we make here a right click of the FCT languages and we go to the advanced editor, we can replace everything with the function code. So let me take a look. It is the access key. So we must replace the first one. So the API key is the access key, our content from our parameter, and endpoint is here. So after that, our function is set it up. Okay, now if I click here to done, we have a function where we can add some parameters. So we can test the function. So if I write here hello, I click here on invoke, get firstly a warning message. We must specify our credentials. And our credentials are anonymous because we are using an API key. So I select anonymous and click here on connect. Now we get the result for hello is EN. And it is good if you, after testing, you should delete the invokes for function, because if you don't delete this, it will be loaded into your data or Power BI data model. Now we have a function to detect the languages of a given text. Now, if we go back to our table EN and select add column and say, okay, we want to invoke a custom function. And here we can say, okay, inside this function, we will provide language. And we select the function query, it is FCT languages, and the column is merged. We get this column firstly because we have selected this column. If you have selected another column, you must select here inside this drop-down box the column where you want to extract the languages. So now we can click here on OK. And now we get also a warning message because we have imported an Excel file from local and we want to mix the data with data from the internet. So if we click here on continue, we see, okay, these informations are from the internet and we can say, okay, this data is public. Select organizational or private. But here I click on public. Now we scroll to the right. You see language detection says every text inside this table is EN, is in English. English review. Yes, it's right. If you read the text, we see, okay, it is only written in English. But imagine that you have a table or an Excel file with more than 100,000 rows. It's not so easy to detect the language by looking to the data. Okay. Now we have the language, and we need the second step to extract the key phrases. So you can also copy this code from the key phrases from the PDF or BI. Here we can say on the FCT folder, we want to add here a new query, blank query, for the name. Rename this to FCT key phrases. And now we can go to the advanced editor. And put the code inside the function and replace the API key with the access key, access database, and endpoint. The first letter was Papa. If you want to test this with different APIs, you can also create a parameter for the different APIs for 2.1, 3.1, or maybe in the future we get another preview API like 4.1 or 4.0 or something else. Okay, here we see inside the JSON body, we must provide the language as a parameter. We must provide our text. So the text is our subject and text from our entire table, and the language is already extracted by the FCT languages function. So I click here on done. Now we get here a new function, and I say, okay, hello world. I say, okay, the language is EN. I will invoke the function, and we get only from the key phrases API the information world. Hello is cut it off because Microsoft says, okay, to extract the key phrases, the hello is not needed. Okay, I will delete the output of this function. Now we can go back to the table, and for the languages, or sorry, to get the key phrases, we can go to add columns, invoke a custom function, and here we can say, okay, this is our key phrases. The function query is the FCT key phrases. The text, this case, is merged for subject and text. The language, you can select, okay, this is a column, and for the column, we select the languages or the language column. Now, if we click here on OK, get a new column which only contains the key phrases of the given text. So here in this case, this was the example from before when we are using or where we have used Postman. You see, this is our fryer. We get healthy way, shipping, try smaller version. Oh no, try and smaller version, size, chicken, hour, and things. And for the other text, we get also the different key phrases. Okay, now we have for our table EN the language and the key phrases. The third thing which we need is the sentiment score. The sentiment score is also here inside the PDF a function. Only we must provide the language, we must provide our key phrases inside the text, and the endpoint gives us the sentiment score. So we can copy this. Report, and now we can create on the functions on Power Query a new query, a blank query, and say, okay, this is the FCT sentiment. Can go to the advanced editor. Here we can paste the code, and we will replace the API key to the access. And first letter of the endpoint must be written to upper. Now the function will work. So say, okay, the sentiment core, say here, very good. The language is EN. If I invoke this function, we get the information by 0.9699 and so on. So if we move this to or we will multiply this with 100 to get a percentage score, it says, okay, it is nearly perfect. So very good. Maybe we can try this by providing perfect at 100%. Oh, only 0.96. So in the Microsoft world, there is no 100%. Good. I don't know why. But if we say, okay, 0.96 and we round it up, we get a 100. Okay, so we can delete both queries from the invoke testing, and now it is gone. And when we go back here to the table EN, we have here our languages and key phrases, and now we need to add a column to invoke the custom functions. And we say, okay, this column is the sentiment, and we need the function query FCT sentiment. Here in this case, we don't use the merged column, we use the key phrases. And for the language, we will use the column language. Okay, now if you click here on OK, every row or every key phrase will be analyzed by the service. And here we see, okay, this sentiment score is 0.93. This is only 0.5, really low. And these ones are very high, but this one is very low. Yeah, when we see a poor quality, here we say, okay, performance, I think this is neutral. Hard time, yeah, headphones at work are also nearly neutral. So if we hear the words poor quality, we can say, okay, this is not a good review. I think this is thinking of the Microsoft service. Okay, now if we select here the column sentiment, we can say this data type is not any. We must select here in this case, we want to convert this column to a decimal number. So we can do some calculations of it. We can bring this column into Power BI Desktop to a percentage and so on. We can also use here percentage here as a data type. But if you want to work with Power BI Desktop and this column, in my point of view, it is better that you only have a decimal number. And if you create a measure, you can use or you can convert this value to a percentage data type. So select here decimal number, and now we have the informations inside this column converted, and now we can click here and close and apply. You see here, for every row, the Microsoft service will be called again. So remember, for the language detection, we have called the rows or the functions. So for development, we call the function more than one time again. So the API, we have 5,003, but maybe if your data set for testing or development is a little bit bigger than this one, it can be, maybe you need a bigger plan. We'll show you the plans a little bit later. Okay, now you have here a table EN, and if you take a look here to it, you can use the category on the table. Okay, inside table EN, we have only books and we have electronic. And if you put the sentiment here, the table, actually it is summarized, but this is wrong. We must select for the sentiment here an average. So we see with books, our customers, or maybe they are happy, or let's say they are happy, 0.78. For electronic, they are not so really happy. We have only a sentiment score with 0.56. So let us rename the table EN to data. No, sorry. Please don't rename the table. I've selected escape. Okay. What was the original name? Table EN. Of course, we should create another table inside Power Query where we can append the different results of the different languages. Okay, now can say here to create some measures, or firstly, let us select here transform data again. Now we are back to the Power Query editor. And now let us create a new folder or a new group. Let us name this group result. And inside the result, we'll create a new blank query. And go to the advanced editor. For the source, say, okay, the source is our table EN. Not more to do. So if we select here on, done, the same result from table EN will be written into the table query 1. We can say, okay, this table is named result. Why should we do that? If we import the table FR and we import the table DE, we have here some more tables inside the raw data, and into the result table we can append the results from the other queries. I think in a real world environment or example, you will only have one table. The table contains the different languages, not only one for EN, one for DE, and one for FR, one for NL. I think these are the 4 tables, and so I think it is better, but to train this for your own, we have 4 different raw data tables by calling the functions, and we have 1 result table. But if we click here on close and apply, we get 2 different tables inside our data model. It's the same content. We get a result table and we get a table EN table. We can select here by right-clicking this table and say, okay, we don't want to load this table into our data model. The data will be refreshed with Power Query, the functions are called, but this table does not appear inside our data model. So if we select this, the data loss warning, it's okay. We have already loaded the data. And now if we click here on close and apply, maybe this table getting small will get us an error because this table, the columns from this table are not existing anymore because the table EN is hidden from Power BI. Yeah, see this, and we can delete this. Now we have here our table result. Okay, now we can create some different measures. Now, if we make a right click on the table result, we can say, okay, we want to have a new measure. And we can say, okay, we want to have the sentiment score. Here we can say, okay, we want to have an average of the sentiment of the result table. Now we have here a new measure for the sentiment score, and this makes it a little bit easier. So if we put here the category on to the canvas, we use this measure. See here, okay, the sentiment is about 0.78. And if we click on the measure again and say this, the result type is percentage. Now see for books, we have 78 sentiments. The score is 78. For electronic, it's only 55% or 56 if you round it up. But we have also the stars inside our table. If you want to compare the sentiment with the stars, we can create a new measure. and we will name it to star rating, because we only also need an average of the stars, and we should not sum stars up. Now, if you put the star rating also to this table, you see, okay, the people are not very happy with books. They give us, on average, only 3 stars. Here, you get 2.71 stars. But if you take a look here to the sentiment score is higher than 3. We have 5. We can select 1 to 5 stars for scoring on Amazon.com. I guess I haven't done as a review yet, so it was not needed by me. But I think if we select only 3 stars, it is not very high. So if you take a look to the sentiment score against the star rating, the sentiment score, I think it is higher than the star rating. Okay. Does this work for you, Ali?
Yeah, the rest work, but I think I have a problem with the sentiment column.
Okay.
Yeah, it shows some errors, but I think I made some mistake while inserting the column into the table, I think.
Would you like to share your screen so I can help you a little bit better?
Okay, just a moment. I would like to go back. It is query. Share my screen. Yeah. Okay, so this is that one, and I think while inserting the column into
okay, there's the error.
I think I have to remove it and re-add it. So add column.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will once again sentiment, and the function should be sentiment function, and the column should be
key phrases, yes.
And here it should be column name and
Language.
Language. That was my mistake. Yes. So
Yeah.
now I have it.
Okay.
And yeah, the second one, it was with the, I think I just didn't write it correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Table en.
First is equal to.
You must remove the double quotes.
The double quotes. I think it was in the double quotes. Okay. And that's done.
Okay.
I will unload this one.
Yeah. And please select the sentiment column inside the table en, and we must change the data type to decimal.
This one.
Yeah, we must change it from data type any to decimal number.
Decimal number. Okay.
Okay. Now I think it works. Yeah, this is everything. Okay. Now you can click on close apply.
Okay. Now I think I have it.
Okay, now we need two measures, one for the sentiment and one for the stars. So you can select new measure, top of the menu,
And
or you can make a right click on the table result and select new measure. On the right side, below fields, you have the table result.
Table result.
On the right side of your screen, below fields.
Below fields.
There's result, the table result. Right. Again, to the columns.
The column. Okay, yeah. This
And
one.
you must make a right click on the table result.
Mm-hmm.
Here you can select new measure.
New measure, yeah. And
now we can create a measure which is named sentiment score. So you can replace the word measure here. Sentiment score equals average.
Average, yeah. Average of
sentiment.
Sentiment. First one.
Okay. No, you have already a column which is named sentiment. Click here on close and rename it sentiment to sentiment score.
Okay. Yes. So another measure, I think.
Yeah, we need a measure for the star rating or the stars rating.
Okay.
Name it star rating.
Star rating
Equals average stars. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you put the category to the canvas and also the two different measures.
Now, so category.
You can use the first column, the category.
Oh, yeah. So I put it to the rows. Yes. Okay. And now the sentiment.
No, not this one. Please use your measures.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. And sorry. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay. Please select the sentiment score by the measures. No, yeah, this one. Select this and
the percentage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me take a look. This is the same result for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
You may share your screen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We have this data, and we have also included here a date column inside our data, which creates us a date hierarchy. We can use the date hierarchy. We can put this to the canvas and can also make this to a line chart. And if you put the sentiment score, okay, we have only reviews from 2020. If we go down, okay, we see it is starting on January the 1st. We get a sentiment score of 70.36%. On the 3rd January, we get a very low sentiment, and then we go up, and then we go down. And now, if we you can create a slicer here to the category and select here slicer. Just take a look only to electronic. You see, okay, here's a very high, but here for the 3rd January, it is very low. If we take a look here to the books, it's really high for 3 points after the January the 3rd. Before that, we are very low. So here we can make some time intelligence or time analysis, not time intelligence. But here we can get some more informations by using the slices. And we duplicate this a little bit smaller. Paste the sentiment score with the star rating. It looks really interesting. Here we are very high at the January 5, get more than 98%. And if we take a look here to the star rating, we are very low. You get only 1 star. So you can compare your sentiment scoring with the star rating. Time over time, this is the whole result. Here we see, okay, for books we get 3, and sentiment score says, okay, we are by 78. But if you make here time over time analysis, you see, okay, after that we are very high, and here go really, yeah, down. For this book, you can also select the product is also included into a column, and if we make this to a slicer, it's a Kanban book. Oh, okay, this is only one book inside this data set, and maybe for the electronic we get some more. Yeah, we have here our fryer, and we see here our headphones. The headphones goes down, and our fryer, yeah, goes also down, but we have some high points against the headphones. Okay, now we have only imported DN files, or the English ones. We can also import as it here inside our shared data, the DE, the France, or the NL. I think we should start with the DE because it is the first one in the folder. So if you go back to Power BI Desktop and select here Transform Data, now we can select here, we want to have a new data source which uses an Excel workbook, and we can select DE. And we select the first table. Okay, now the table DE will be also loaded into our Power BI data model. To prevent this, make here a right click to the table and say, or disable the enable load. Or we don't get this table into our result. So now this is the same as we have done for the EN table. We select the title and the text, and here we select merge columns. Select also the merged, or say this column should be named as merged. And now we can add our new column by invoking a custom function. And here we say, okay, we want to get our typos. Oh, horrible day today. Language, and our function query is the FCT languages by providing our column merged. So select OK. And here you see every text is written in German. Our ISO code says, okay, it is DE. Now we need to extract our key values. So or key phrases. So select here. Key phrases should be the same as the caps lock. Should be the name as the EN table, because if you want to merge the tables into one result, you should have the same column names. So our function or columns which are provided to the key phrases is the text is merged, the language is our column name language. Now if we select here, okay. Get the key phrases, and now we invoke another custom function for the sentiments score. I think we have named it to sentiment, I guess. And we select city sentiment. The text is the key phrases, and the language is selected by the column language. Now we have the sentiment, and now this is the result for the German language. And the table DE, the table EN should be should be only one table. And we have here our table result. We select the result table. We can say on the home tab, we want to append a query. So we can say, okay, append query, and the table is table DE. So if you click here, okay, see here, get the sentiment scores for DE and also for the EN language. Okay, Now you can click here on Close and Apply. And the data will be merged into one table, different languages. Oh, can't display, I think. Okay, we forget here something. Please click again here on Transform Data. And on Transform Data for the table DE, we forgot to select for the sentiment column to change the data type to decimal number. Now you can click Close and Apply again. Hopefully now it works. Yeah, okay. There's no errors. And now we have a new product. It is from Germany. And move here the filter. And now we see, okay, for books, it also goes down by the star rating, but for the sentiment score goes up. It's a little bit better. For the German side of the product, we select here electronic. The star rating goes up, but the sentiment score goes down for the product. Select here the product, this one. No, there's no one or nothing. The electronic air fryer, yeah, this goes down, so you can analyze each different product inside your data set with this informations. So maybe here the Kanban book, same one, only in German language. Take a quick look. Okay, it's only 1 point for some German products. Okay, and you can also apply or create here a slicer for the languages. So you can see, okay, this is for the language DE, this is for the language EN. I've only extracted some data from Amazon.com, and I have edited some data for the star rating. The data is not absolutely 100% correct. I've only extracted some informations. Okay. Now we have two different languages. Now we can import, or we can go back to the transform data, and now we can import another table. Say, okay, we want a new data source. Select Excel workbook. Here connect. Now we can select the France file. Select here open. Select this table. Okay. And this is really straightforward. This also or only the same. We will merge two different columns, title and text. And then we add the three different columns by the three different functions. So firstly, we must extract the language. From the merge column. Here we have also one review which is written in Spain. If you take a look here to the text, I think this is true because if you read this text, this is not France, this is Spanish text. But the review was copied from Amazon.fr. Was not copied from Amazon ES. But since this is not a problem, the sentiment analysis works with different languages. So we have here the column language. Now we can invoke a new custom function. The firstly, we need the key phrases. To provide search text, and then we must provide our column name languages or language. So select here OK. Now these are our key phrases, and now we must invoke another key custom function to get our sentiment score. Select this function, takes the key phrases, the language is provided by the column language. Now we have here our sentiment score, and we must convert this column to its data type decimal. Okay, that's it. The table FR should be only selected as not loading to the data model. And we can append the table FR also to our result table. So here we can select append queries, can select our table FR, and here we can select OK. Now our table contains not only German or English, we are also getting some information from France. And if we select here on close and apply, the function is called for every row. After that, we should see three different languages. Okay, this is an error. The error is the visual contains mismatches. Okay. Okay, let us go back to transform data. Take a look here to the table FR was imported. I have selected sentiment for decimal numbers. This has been done. Language and key phrases. Here to the result. this is seems to be correct. Okay. What is the error? The visual contains one or more filters with deleted columns. Which columns are not provided? Product is available. Product. Strange. If the category we have problem with category. Okay, the date is the problem. Okay, why? Why is the date the column? Okay, the date is here a whole number, and okay, let's check this table FR. Right. Select this, we get a whole number. Okay, to fix this, please go to the Power Query editor and to the table FR. I think there's a mistake inside the Excel workbook, and here we can select the second step, navigation, and we can delete the third step, change type, because it's not needed. It seems to be good. The date should be converted to data type date, and the stars should be converted to data type whole number. I think that's it. I click here on close and apply. I forgot to remove the filter, but this can be done after the loading. Data is loaded, and we have date. We have the date hierarchy. The date is also an error. Hi. Right, this is okay. This was the drill down. Check date again. Okay, this is date. Everything is good. We have these filters on the visual. Ali, do you have the same error?
Well, actually, that's the data, the date format issue. I think that's the date with the French table, and the date format is different. So maybe that's the issue.
Okay. Yeah, and I have the issue that I cannot delete the date here. Okay,
Yeah, but you have to do it in I think in a in query editor.
Yeah, that's right. But I should be able to delete the column here from the visual. I will try.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I cannot use the category. Okay. Filters on this visual. Yeah, this is okay, but we don't need this. Okay, now, yeah, this was a filter. Okay. But the date hierarchy works. Okay, now the sentiment star rating works. Okay, now it works. You should make sure that for the table FR here you should delete the change type and replace the type by selecting for the date. Must be here the data type date, and for the star rating, for the stars column, you should select whole number.
Well, actually, when I'm converting the date or changing the date type, then it shows error.
Can you show your screen?
Yeah. So now I changed the type. If I go in, this is the one it shows now for the moment. Now it's date, but actually, if the type is number, change to date, it throws error. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is strange. Yeah, because here in that's with the dot notation normally. Yeah, in this case it doesn't show any error. Yeah, but this is normally a text instead of a date.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, can you please click on the left side on the folder raw data to the table EN?
These are correct. These are fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I
fine.
see.
As you can see, yeah. So they're like that. That's the date notations.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Okay, there's a problem inside the Excel file.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the incoming data is wrong. For me, it works because my data notation works on my computer, but on your computer not.
Yeah.
So we can fix this in the Excel file, but
yeah, we have to replace the values, the dots with the backslashes, and then that will be fine, I think.
Yeah, we can try this.
Okay, and then now if I change it to date, and it will be fixed, I think. No. No. Oh, why?
What is the first one? Your data type, day or months?
Normally it's In my computer, it's the American.
The American format. Okay. No.
American format. So I think it should be able. I should be able. Yeah. Even I change it, then it will not help me. I don't think so. So the regional setting, it's the United States, but that should be normally.
You can set this
Yeah.
to. You can set this to another, but I think in this case you must restart the whole Power BI desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But normally, this time here, it's not a problem. Or maybe the dates are listed in the months, or it's not greater than 12. That's why it doesn't show any error. Or here we have 12, but it's not more than 20. So, yeah, it considers it as a month in day, but not the vice versa. And I think in this case, in French, we have a more than the months.
Yeah, 22. The month 22 doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, so it throws an error.
Okay.
Yeah, but
you can replace the values inside the Excel files. You like. I think you have already downloaded the Excel files. If you open the table FR, and then you can replace this to other dates, but we can.
Yeah, then it will be again wrong in that case.
Yeah.
You will have a different result in that case.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah, because I was looking to my visuals, and my visuals were showing strange things because it was too different. Look at that, and I was saying, how is that possible?
Yeah, that's right. It's a little bit confusing. So you will have different results than on my screen.
Yeah, I think changes from base of my computer.
But we can try to import the NL file. I think this is.
That's not an issue. I think I can change it afterward in the Excel file itself because.
Okay.
Yeah. But we can carry on now for the moment. I will change it afterward.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. I will switch over to my screen, and I think I forget to make a break. Normally to me. Do you need a break or? Proceed.
How much is left? If we have not much left, then so we can continue. If we still have to do some more.
I think 30 minutes.
Okay. Let's have a break then. If we have 30 minutes more, just a coffee in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's make a break about 5 minutes so I can grab up a new coffee because my coffee is really cold. Okay. Yeah, let's see us in 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ali, if you are back, give me a short sign. Ali, you are back. Ah, cool. Yeah, I was laughing as I'm reading the chat. Michelle Wong was here, and my profile image, it was painted by her daughter. And she says, awesome profile image. Cool. Okay. Yeah, the last step which we need to do is to import the NL files for the Netherlands. So it is also, yeah, really straightforward. We click here to get a new data source and select Excel workbook. And now hopefully we get not in trouble with the date column. We select the NL XLSX file and select this table. Click on OK. And we can select that the table NL table is the table NL will be not loaded into our data model. And we will merge text and the title column into one column. Okay, now the date column looks fine. So hopefully we get not in trouble with this. And now we select here add column and invoke custom column. Firstly, we must extract the language. And select the FCT languages. We will provide for the date column, the merged column. Now everything inside this table, not everything, the last row is France, but the other rows are from the Netherlands. Now we must extract the key phrases. Key phrases. Text is merged column and the language column is language. And lastly, we must detect the sentiment. Is the function FCT sentiment. Here we say the column is the key phrases, the language column is the language. And select for the sentiment column, or we must transform it to the data type decimal. And after that, we can append this table to the table result. I must remove the filter. And I will append a new query table NL. And I'll click here on OK. It's the same as the other three tables before. So now we can click here on close and apply. So after that, inside our data model, we have the reviews from 4 different stores or 4 different languages. Inside the table, we have information from Germany, Netherlands, France, and English. I'm not sure. I think it was Amazon.com. Where I've copied the the scores. So if we put the language here to the canvas and we create a slicer, sorry, we also get here Spanish informations, because inside our store from France, there was already a Spanish text inside the reviews. So I have destroyed my visuals, so I will do this again. Categories, key rating, sentiment score, and copy the visual. Is also not work. Okay, now that will create here a combined line and stacked visual, and put the star rating to the line values. And for the column series, I will put here the categories already on this axis. I will put the language here. So we can have a little bit more, or we can get out of the data some more informations. So we see the different languages, we see the scores, and we see here on the line the star rating. The star rating is almost higher than our sentiment. But here, or in this case, it is a percentage data type. If you look here to the star rating, this is a whole number or decimal number. Star rating here in this case says, okay, 3.41 is the star rating, and I will remove the language again. Don't think it makes sense. We see here in this case for the books, we have 61, and rating for the stars is only 3.4. So yeah, maybe can not really trust the star rating. I will duplicate this visualization again. And here for the category, and I will put the date to the shared axis. I will pull down here 2020. So here in this case, we see, okay, the star rating is lower than the sentiment analysis. Here in this case, we have more than 70%, and stars are only by 3 stars. So with the sentiment analysis, you are able to analyze your whole data. And I think in a real world scenario, you don't have 4 different files. You have only 1 file or 1 folder, which includes the tables in the same formatting. So you can use the folder extractor from Power BI as a connector. So you must do this not for every language, or you don't need to do the same steps for every language. This is only to train the use of these functions. And if you have your own, Ali, you have said that you will have in the near future, I think so, your own Azure tenant, you need to create your text analysis, and after that you can select here edit parameters, and here you can provide your own endpoint and your own access key. But here I have used the free version, and I will not delete the service in the next few days. so you can work with this service after the session.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let us go back to the slides. This is already done. Okay, so in our example, we have approx 130 reviews for the different languages, and we do 130 calls for language detection and 130 for key phrases and sentiment analysis. So we have here in this case 390 calls against our service. If you take a look to the data with Power Query, you have also 390 calls, and after by clicking transform and load, you have again 390. So we have so many okay, take a look to the chat. Search not Power Apps here. This is a workshop about sentiment analysis. If you want to hear something about Power Apps, yeah, you should switch the room. If you want to take a look to sentiment analysis with Power BI, you can stay here. Okay, yeah. So every time where you refresh the data, you will have, in this case, 390 calls. You have 5,000 per free, but yeah, this is only per month. So if you do this every day, yeah, you can get in trouble and must upgrade your plan to a higher plan. Take a look if, oh, I have removed the slide with plans. Okay, but anyway, I will show you this on service. We have the different pricing tiers. Okay, interesting. Microsoft has removed the other pricing tiers, but this has been done in the last few days. Interesting. But I don't believe that. I think this is an error. Yeah, actually we use the F0 free. We have this free 5,000 calls, and then we have the standard. And the standard we have 1,000 calls per minute, and we must pay here €1.26 to Microsoft. So if you have more than the 5,000, you must upgrade to another plan. But I will check this. There are more plans. Okay, how you can check which plans or how many calls do you have inside the sorry inside the service. We have the metrics, and inside the metrics can say, okay, we want to analyze this resource value on 0902, and we can select here our metric. And I think we need only the total calls, and we don't need the errors. And here we can see how many calls we have done in the past. So we see it here time over time. It's an aggregation sum. We can see this. We can select here from a line chart to a grid. And for testing, we have done more than 1,500 calls. So we have only 3,500 for free. So we have used many calls. But if you have a productive scenario, you can use here the console. You have inside Power BI the incremental refresh. With the incremental refresh, you can refresh only the newest data. We have a date column. Every review which is written to the data source has a date information. So we can say here we want only to extract the newest data to the language and to the sentiment and key phrases API. So there's no need to get this information for old reviews which are more older than 4, 5, 6 days or older. So if you publish the report to the service and you make a schedule refresh with the incremental refresh feature, so you can save money. If you will do this with the premium feature, this option is not available. But if you have paid a premium version, you pay also or only one time per month to Microsoft the premium capacity. So whatever you like, you can do. But if you want only to have the sentiment analysis, I suggest that you should use only the Azure function within free the F0 or S1 plan, so you can save many money. Okay, let's go back to the slides. This was monitoring, and yeah, here you can find some. Okay, this can maybe interesting if you see here the other pricing plans. Free standard. Standard. Okay, this is German. Okay, yeah, they have changed the pricing plans. Okay, interesting. Okay, now we have only the choice between the F0 and the S1 plan. Okay. I have here on this side, you will find some information from Microsoft, how you can use the text analytics, and you will find a small tutorial from Microsoft, how you can use the key phrases extraction, but it's the same as I've shown you before. And I've written some different blog posts about this feature, how you can use the incremental refresh and how you can publish the report with a refresh to your service and so on. These blog posts are already written in English. The top level domain is Germany, DE, but the content is in English. Okay, yeah, here you find the informations about the incremental refresh. We have take a look to the monitor. And in the beginning, I've told you we have your APIs like the 3.0 or 3.1. And if you want to try this, I will go back to the Postman tool. And here, okay, now I can click. We have used the 2.1, and this was the sentiment here. And if I change this to this 3.1, what's wrong here? Okay. You see here, we get only the information about the score. But if we use this 3.1, I click here on send, we're getting some more informations. Zoom this a little bit. We get the information about positive, and we also get here positive, neutral, and negative. But if you use only the positive, you must change the JSON extraction. And I think we should, or you can use only this, because this says, okay, positive 1.0. And here, if I say, okay, this was once, I change this to English. Say really bad. This again. The positive is 0, negative is 1.0. And if I say, okay, I want to have really good, now positive is 1.0 against really bad, only 0.0. And so you must only analyze this column, because it can be really difficult if you have 3 different columns inside your data model, and you must analyze these 3 columns and put them together with some if statements to get only one information. Yeah, I think this is more difficulty than you use only the positive information. So if you get a 0.5, okay, this is more neutral. And say really, I think this would be more neutral. Okay. I think really okay. It's not really bad or negative. Say okay.
Yeah, the negative feedback was more than the positive.
Yeah, I think okay is neutral, oder? Or am I wrong? If I say okay, it is okay. But if okay is negative, I must change my wording to my wife. I say mostly okay.
I think it has to do something with the more lines of feedback, I think, and that will decide based on the whole sentences.
Yeah.
Thing.
The key phrases.
Yeah.
Yeah. And say okay. Maybe if I say okay, good and bad, this must be neutral. No, negative 1.0. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, taking more negative because at the end it looks for the phrase.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to say okay to my wife again. I think. But actually I get not in trouble.
You have to make a long sentences also for your wife to be happy.
Yeah.
Positive one.
Okay. Okay, I say okay 2 times in the last 20 seconds. I use okay too much. Okay. again. Yeah, this was the API. And yeah, that's it. So I said, again, you can use the API for trying out, and I will not delete this. If I delete this, I forget that you are working on this API, but you can write me an email or you can send me a message via Twitter, and I will create a newer one for you. Because I get so much money from Microsoft with the MVP status. I get every month $1,000 for Azure consumption, and I don't use the most of the money. Spend only $150 per month to Microsoft. So please feel free to contact me. Okay, do you have any questions?
Well, actually, I think this is only available on Azure, not on premises.
Yeah, that's right. It's only available on Azure, but you can use some AI features. I'm not sure if it's also available for text analysis, but a friend of mine has installed a camera in front of the front door to check if there are a postman or something, someone else, and he don't use the Azure cloud. He makes this with a local environment on his computer. If you like, I can check this for you. If there's only also the text analysis available, and then I can send you the answer if it's available. But I think, or I guess it's only available on Azure.
Yeah. So
so.
because some companies are using, instead of Azure, they're using Power BI on-prem. So, but they're getting actually the resources or the feedbacks of the clients are coming online to their database, and you have to read the database and get their feedback and show it on, make a visualization in Power BI. But to publish those reports on-prem instead of Azure itself. Yeah.
Yeah, but Microsoft goes away cloud first. So the most features are only available inside the cloud. Yeah. There we can say, okay.
Yeah, but it depends on also on companies how they translate these views or the public feedback. Yeah. But the one that we discussed, that was more over Amazon and their feedback system, I think.
Yeah,
according
that's
to
right.
Azure.
Yeah, I'm mostly working here in Germany for the German healthcare insurance companies, or for healthcare insurance companies. And yeah, the German GDPR is very restrictive. We are not able to work with this data inside the Azure cloud. We must do this also or only on-prem. We have no possibility to go to the cloud. But Microsoft says, okay, we are able to do this, but the most companies says, no, we don't want to have the risk to work with the cloud. And so it is a really big problem if you want to analyze emails or reviews inside the websites and so on. If the website is already hosted inside the cloud, that's not a big problem, but the most websites are also hosted on-prem.
Yeah.
but I think the problem is more on the German side with the cloud. It's interesting to hear that where are you from Belgium or?
Yeah, it's Belgium. We have the same problem also.
Okay.
Yeah, some clients doesn't want to go to Azure, and so they're using everything on-prem. So I think they have to have another solution also for the on-premises. But I don't know. It's Microsoft.
Yeah, I think from IBM, the Dr. Watson, I guess this was the right name. There was also a solution to get the sentiments, but I've worked with this solution for 7 or 8 years ago. So I'm not sure if the solution already or actually available, deprecated. Don't know. But I will check this. I will write or will call my friend what possibilities he can do or he has with the service, because the picture recognition, if this is a person or is this only a plant or a tree, this works on-prem with Microsoft technologies. Maybe the text analysis is also available if this